Yes, I got a little distracted defending the acolyte on Twitter. I apologize. It's just so frustrating. I know usually, the rule is not to engage, but it's just horrific, and I think just not genuine. Hey, Stephen. Hi, Danny. And again, as I tweeted as a follow up, you don't have to like the acolyte. That's fine. But I think you don't have to, as I said, go full Sith on it. Thanks, Remy. I'm trying. I'm doing the fan lord's work. So that's all. I think that I mean, Disney has a real problem. I don't know what they're going to do about it, and we have to see what we're not going to really know for sure what's going on until we see the ratings, and we'll talk about it on Movie Math when it finally hits Nielsen. But I think we'll see. We'll see if all this hate is having an effect on the viewership. I mean, the same fandom loved Andor, and nobody watched it. So I think there are other issues at play, etc. And so. It's just very frustrating. And a lot of misinformation being put out there, just things skewed. I just think it's really unfortunate. Hey, Lena. But we have other things to talk about today. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another live stream. There will be no live stream tomorrow. I have to take care of some personal stuff, but we'll be back to 3 live streams next week. But we had a lot of fun this week with live trailer breakdowns, so we had a lot of that going on. Okay. All right. Thanks, Dancing Dog 60. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. So let's get started. As always, please try to keep your questions and comments to the story at hand. And if you have something else that you want to ask about or talk about, that's what the end of every live stream is for, where we have a 10-minute Q&A. Yes, happy anniversary to us, Cat Shack. I love your emerald. You just upgraded to emerald. I loves it. Okay. Thanks, Uralysis. All right, story number 1. Boop. Okay. So this morning they announced a new Hunger Games. Not just a book, but a new movie. Because clearly Suzanne Collins and Lionsgate are working very closely together. And they're like, we need a new movie, Suzanne. And she goes, okay, I'll write a new book. She's a lot faster than George R.R. Martin, who just can't write anything. It takes him forever. He can't even finish the stuff he was working on. Although I think Game of Thrones seems to have gotten around that issue. They're working on the earlier books. Hey, Martine, thank you. We'll be talking about House of the Dragon a week from Sunday when it debuts. Oh, on Father's Day. What? All right, so Mika says maybe she has ghostwriters. I think, some writers, I think she doesn't, I think she, she's writing young adult novels, which I think is a little bit different than what George R.R. Martin writes. And so I think it's a little bit easier for her to put it out there. Also, this isn't coming out tomorrow, okay? So they announced today that the new book will come out March 18th, 2025. And then the new movie will come out for Thanksgiving 2026, which is actually pretty freaking far away. That's 2 years away. That's a long. Oh, my stupid Apple Pod. I thought I heard something. Shut up, Apple Pod. Okay, it hears me. Shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Can you even hear it? Okay. Yes, that's right. Curse you, Apple Pod. Curse you. All right. Thanks, AG. All right. So anyway, I'm glad you can't really hear it, but it annoyed the crap out of me. Thanks, Timothy. All right. So, yes. So let's take a look at the overall box office for The Hunger Games. All right. There it is. With the exception of the first film, it has been a Thanksgiving release, including the last one. But as you can see, boy, that last one did not do particularly well. It did well enough for them to want to make another one, but not well enough for them to keep anybody from that cast because, another time jump. All right, so the last Hunger Games, last year's Hunger Games movie came out. That was supposed to be 64 years before the Katniss Everdeen Hunger Games. Now, this one is 40 years after that, being just 24 years before Katniss's thing, because of course Haymitch will be this is his games, the games that he won. So that means that we're going to get a third Cornelius Snow. So Donald Sutherland, of course, originated the role. That Snow, he's an old son of a bitch. He's been around for a long time. And they had Tom Blythe play a very young Snow. But now they're going to need somebody. Yes, it's the 50th Hunger Games, Leo. Now, Kiefer. Mika says Kiefer Sutherland. Methinks I like it for the synergy with Donald Sutherland, but I don't think that anybody wants to see Kiefer Sutherland, really. I don't know. I think if I were them, I'd be like, that's cute, but I would like a little bit of a bigger star. It's been a long time since 24, and I think they probably are, they need an actor in their 40s or 50s. So they can get a pretty good actor, that way. I think, they could get someone pretty good. I don't know about Matt Smith or Alexander Skarsgård. I'm thinking, I gotta tell you, I honestly would be like, do you think I could talk Jude Law into doing it? That's what I would be like. I'd be like, let me see if I can go find him. Yeah, that's right. Remy said the same thing. We're all that's what I'm thinking. I gotta tell you, that's what I'm thinking. Jude Law, someone like that, just to get people interested in the franchise. I'll be like, would you like to see Jude Law with a shock of white hair and a red suit? Maybe. All right. Jude Law did not ruin Dumbledore. Jude Law was a wonderful Dumbledore. And I feel very bad that he did not get a chance to really make that character his own, because I really liked him so much. Some of you don't like Jude Law. What? That would explain his box office. Richard Madden's not old enough. You need someone in their 40s and 50s. All right. Jude Law. Look at Jude Law taking hits for all these movies that didn't do well. He didn't ruin Captain Marvel either. He did the best he could with the role that was given to him. All right. So, and he came back to do a voice in the animated series. Thank you very much. So he's a cool dude. And by the way, one of the nicest people I've ever interviewed on the red carpet. A real sweetheart. Such an incredibly kind man. Remember, I've always said he and Colin Farrell were the nicest people I've ever interviewed. Really nice people. As I told you, side note, Colin Farrell came ridiculously early to the red carpet, and Jude Law came late, but he didn't care if he missed the beginning of his thing, because he'd already seen it, and he stuck around. He was really a nice person and gave you his full attention. Such a kind person. All right, I guess subconsciously, maybe that's why I'm saying he should do it. All right, so yeah. Now, the Haymitch casting is where you're going to get your younger actor. Because, of course, this is I don't know why they always want to go for games with someone from District 19. I would love to spotlight a different frickin' district already at this point. It's always about the Capitol or District 19. I'm so sick and tired of that coal mining district, I cannot tell you. Miss Jesse Plemons? I love Jesse Plemons. I think he's too young for the role, but I don't care. I would also love to have, District 12. Thank you, District 12. I apologize. All right, but yeah, I would kind of like Jesse Plemons. Who cares about the age difference if they could get Jesse Plemons in there? Do you think Jesse Plemons could play a young Haymitch? I don't think he's young enough to do the role. I mean, I would like that, but I don't think he's old enough. I mean, I think he's too old for that. Yeah, Jesse Plemons could play Snow, honestly. But yeah, let's see who they can get. But you need an actor that could fill in for Woody Harrelson, and so that could be really interesting. I would be really interested to see what kind of actor they get for that. It would be like a young character actor. Mike Feist, Diego. Oh, we've cast it. We solved all their problems for them. That's who I'd try and get. Mike Feist is a great choice for this. I don't know if he'd do it, but I would offer him probably more money than he's seen to date. I'd be like, well, how'd you like $1 million, Mike Feist? And he'd be like, I shall do it. I don't care if he's supposed to be 16 in the games. I mean, Rachel Zegler wasn't a teenager, so I don't care. I don't care how old they are. I'm casting these people. I'll be like, he's a teenager according to the script, so I don't want to hear it. Those are Hollywood rules. So Mike Feist and Jude Law, or I would also, we can't have Mike Feist and Jesse Plemons because they look the same age. But yeah, and I'll be like, yeah, it's going to be great. I love it so much. All right, so I think this is fun. We'll see how this comes about, but this will be some interesting casting options. But, I wonder what it could take to get this franchise back to where it once was. They're bringing back Francis Lawrence to direct, but I don't think Francis Lawrence was the magic special sauce, as you can see from this box office number. Was it Jennifer Lawrence? I don't know. I feel like I don't think Jennifer Lawrence is what Jennifer Lawrence once was. So even and she said now she would come back. By the way, she's like, just like all these actors are like, I'm out of here. Like Robert Downey Jr. But then after a little bit, they go, my box office numbers look like crap. Maybe I'll go back to that franchise that put me on the map. So, although we always knew Robert Downey Jr. was going to come back, I think he even knew he was always going to come back. I think Robert Downey Jr. only said that so he could win an Oscar. And I think he had every intention of coming back because we all know about Tony Stark does come back with the artificial intelligence, AI version, like the hologram version of himself. And then he eventually comes back as well. All right. But I think he should be a hologram for like a couple of years to really make the impression. So we'll see what happens. Apparently, Suzanne Collins says this new movie is going to be all about propaganda. Maybe that's another problem. When these movies first came out, we weren't actually living in the Hunger Games. But now it feels like we kind of are. So I think this makes these things like The Handmaid's Tale and this, I think they're a little less interesting as entertainment because people want escapism in their entertainment. And they're like, no, that's just today. I would like to go and just have a nice time. That's how I felt watching the last Hunger Games. I was like, man, I felt like it was a little too close to home. Has Black Mirror fallen off as well, Guy Ty? I think you're right. I don't think the last season made the same impression that it has in the past. Yeah, that's right, Vlad. It is like the Met Gala. The Met Gala has also become, that's true. The Met Gala has become more and more ridiculous and very much like the Capitol. That's I hope they do something like that. They should play that up. I think that's great. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments about this story before we move on to the next story of the day? Hey, Wanda's attorney. Marco, I don't like Ewan McGregor for Snow. I mean, I think he's been burned by a lot of crappy television shows. I'm sorry. Billy Baby Bobby says, Haymitch's games have 48 tributes. Well, we're not going to see any of them, and most of them are going to die right away. Ohad, I have not read the books. I used to read books, but they made me very antisocial, so I only read short form content at this point because I had to make that choice for my life. Because I would stop talking to people until I finished a book. And then I'd start a new one. And I just became a hermit. And I was like, no. So I only read short form content. I only read magazines, comic books, news articles, stuff like that. Mish says, poll for who watched the last Hunger Games. Okay, I know you guys like the poll. Hold on. But I think it should be like, are you interested in the new Hunger Games? Are you interested in the new Hunger Games movie? Yes, give it to me. Maybe. And then, we'll stream. And then, no thank you. And of course, again, as always, anyone can vote in a poll. I'll give you guys a moment. Steven, I don't think audiobooks are for me. I watch, also you have to remember, I watch so much television and so many movies for my job. So that takes up a lot of my time. Look, Davy B. Jones says, only interested for Haymitch. You guys love your Haymitch. I only liked one Hunger Games movie, by the way, Catching Fire. That was great. The rest of them, not so much. Hey, Nikki. Oh, Isaac Lopez says it was supposed to be in there. Alberto, Viola Davis would not be back. Certainly not, because it's 40 years later. Although I loved her character in the last movie. I thought she did a great job. Martine, I thought the new one was fine. I mean, I enjoyed elements of it, but it wasn't as good as the last one. I mean, as the second one. The second one was like, I felt, oh, wow, this is a great franchise. And then I never felt that way again. The infamous Kiki says it's a dystopian Twilight. Well, that's true. This came about when everybody was loving the young adult romance novels. Twilight, Hunger Games, Divergent. And those things aren't as popular anymore. So it stands to reason, I think maybe that's good that maybe they'll take the romance element out of it. Except, of course, maybe if Haymitch had someone he was interested in. And they're going to do the thing where you see the younger versions of all the characters from the Jennifer Lawrence movies. They're like, here's young, Stanley Tucci. Although I have to say, I'm forgetting the actor's name, but he did a pretty darn good. He was his father. He was a pretty good substitute, but then he can't come back either. Finn Moreau says, people seem to be turned off by Jennifer Lawrence since she defended Amy Schumer in the wake of the pro-Israel posts. Yeah, I don't know if that would really stick to Jennifer Lawrence. That's a complex situation. I mean, that's a complex situation. Tyler Rod says, I hope that kids today have their own version of Harry Potter and Hunger Games to encourage reading. There isn't any book like that right now. That's an interesting point. For those of you who do read, are there any books out right now that are really hot? Like, I haven't heard of anything where people are like, oh, when's it going to come out? Percy Jackson, those aren't new books, though. No, see, there isn't anything. Oh, that's sad. Isaac Lopez says, Haymitch had a bestie in the games. Like a bestie or a bestie? Jason Acker says she's had bigger issues before all that. Well, yeah, I think Jennifer Lawrence got a little too real for everybody. She picked on that poor reporter. That was bad. Although, didn't she apologize for it? No one ever hears the apology. I think she was just overexposed, to be honest with you. I thought she was very funny in the new movie about, the dating thing that she, I thought she did a really nice job with that. Oh, it's a bestie wink wink? Oh, does Haymitch celebrate Pride Month? I mean, everybody celebrates Pride Month. Or should. But does he have a vested interest in Pride Month? I do not know anything about Haymitch. Oh, it's a girl. Wink, wink. Chandler Crumlin says the book industry is like movies, safe and boring. Oh, that's an interesting, I do think that there's, that's very interesting that you say that. I feel like, I've been watching a lot of new seasons of stuff, and to some degree you're like, I've already seen this, I think there is a lack of newness in Hollywood. Future movie actresses, like I said, great we get to see Haymitch's backstory in the books. It's officially become canon in the films. Oh, I hope so. That would be great. All right, so let's move on, I think, to the next story. All right, next story. Story number 2. Boop. All right, so there was a nice headline that came out today. I got to tell you, I think it's crazy, some of the ways that I'm seeing things develop online. The poll results. Hold on, let me close the poll. Thank you. All right, so are you interested in the new Hunger Games movie? 45% of you are like, yes, give it to me. But 21% of you don't want it at all. 20% of you are like, maybe, and then only 12% of you are like, you'll stream it. So that means it's 65% of you are possibly going to be interested in seeing it in theaters. That's not, that reflects the last movie's box office, to be honest with you. All right. Oh, no, I covered up the Oscar. All right, hold on. Let me try and move it. There we go. All right, so stunt category. So, it's pretty slow these days, and, nobody's above clickbait, it seems, with a lot of even major publications putting out headlines that you're like, what? Also, by the way, because people are very clickbaity, I saw earlier this week a good example of that is that Paramount and Skydance are close to signing their deal. But a lot of, entertainment Twitter accounts that just paraphrase the news, they made it seem like the deal was done. Instead of, and I don't know why they would say that, because they have the room in the tweet to say they're almost close to a deal. I guess you wouldn't click if it was just, oh, they're close to a deal. And so I was surprised to see that, and I think it hurts the way news is conveyed. Also, like I've seen some of these accounts paraphrasing articles. Like we talked about Sean Levy and Avengers yesterday, and I was really surprised. I'm sure it must have very much annoyed Deadline and the Hollywood Reporter that these entertainment accounts just paraphrased the article. So you didn't have to read it. They just paraphrased all the bullet points, and it's like, it's crazy. It's like it's a very weird space right now out there in everywhere, just everywhere. That's right, Leo. All the trades are owned by the same company. Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, and Variety are all owned by a company called PMC, Penske Media. All right, but it's just very interesting to me. Very interesting. Okay, so stunt category. So there was a headline that came out today when they were like, the Oscars are doing it. They're doing the stunt category. But the reality of the situation is that they're talking about it. So I think the situation is that the reality of it is that everybody keeps asking the Academy, are you going to do a stunt category or not? And then they announced a casting Oscar, and everyone said, are you freaking kidding me? You're doing a casting Oscar, but you're not doing a stunts Oscar? So I think they've decided to now say, we're considering it. But they did point out that the casting Oscar, which is now happening, is still a couple of years out from actually being a thing, that you're probably like 5 or 6 years away from even having a stunt category, even if they were to start to approve it today. So, you got some time there before you get an Oscar for stunts. But I think, honestly, what's probably driving them doing this is that it would probably help drive viewership. And I think that the Oscars is having, like all awards shows, a real viewership problem. So I think a lot of people would be like, this category is awesome, and they would want to see it. And I think you could probably have a pretty good part of the show where they did a stunt maybe to lead up to it. And so I think that, they probably feel it would help ratings. Certainly more than the casting Oscar will. Although I've seen a couple of projects lately where I'm like, you know what? There should be an Oscar for casting, because that was extremely well cast. Like, for instance, The Color Purple last year. Incredibly well cast movie. So I think that's pretty. So I'm fine with the casting Oscar, but it's not going to make people tune in. But I think people would tune in for a stunt Oscar. Now they're saying in the articles that the Fall Guy is responsible for this happening, which I find super annoying, because the Fall Guy did really talk a lot about there should be an Oscar for stunts. Every time I think of the Fall Guy, I throw up a little bit in my mouth. Not because of the movie so much, but I got food poisoning seeing that movie. And I can still taste what I got. I'm pretty sure it was the frickin' new donut holes at AMC. Don't ever order those. They'll haunt me forever. Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that's how I always feel about the Fall Guy. Okay? I'm just always like, All right. And also I didn't care for the film. But that's also a real problem for it. But anyway, they kind of jumped on that Oscars stunt, That's right, Andrew. The donut holes are fried in oil, and that's not how donuts are supposed to be made, in my opinion. But Dory, I'm glad you like those donut holes. I personally think that nobody should eat them. Okay. So anyway, if you want some of that icing, get the pretzels with cinnamon sugar on them. Because to me, the donut holes just were like, it was like eating like little bags of oil. Whoa. All right. Sorry. But maybe mine just weren't made well, because some of you seem to really like them. But I'm never going to get over it. Okay. All right. So anyway. Fall Guy, I don't think it was a particularly good movie. I don't think it actually had a lot of stunts in it. Now, John Wick is what I think people are talking about when they talk about an Oscar for stunts, because of the artistry. Because of the artistry of the stunts in John Wick. Chad Stahelski, he's an artiste with what he comes up with and what he thinks of. So I'm going to be really ticked off if by the time this thing does come around, the narrative is that it was the Fall Guy that got it done. That's going to make me very angry. It should be John Wick. I think that John Wick should be the one that's behind it. It would just very much annoy me. All right, so when will this air? Some Oscars, by the way, are shunted to the pre-show, which is a couple of days early. Remember poor Angela Bassett? She finally got an honorary Oscar, but they gave it to her not during the telecast. They gave it to her during like the pre-show a couple of days before that John Mulaney hosted and did such a good job. Now everybody wants John Mulaney to host the actual Oscars, and he would like to host the actual Oscars. And I hope that he gets that gig. I love John Mulaney. So anyway, I hope they wouldn't stick, the stunt category in the pre-show, because if the more Oscars they add, what is the longer the show going to get? It's already too long. But yet, how do you make somebody not get their Oscar during the telecast? I almost wish, I don't know, the commercials are pretty good during the Oscars, but I almost wish they would make you pay for it. Would anybody watch it if you had to pay for it? But I'm like, I don't know, get less commercials or something, or work the commercials in better, or raise the price for commercials. Because I really feel like everybody should get their Oscar during the telecast. Nacho Flores, technically it's the governor's ball, but it is a pre-show, it's like being stuck in the satellite room. They're like, you can't go to the actual event, but how'd you like to watch it on a super big TV in the room next door? And you're like, are you effing kidding me? That's what I feel like they're kind of doing to people's Oscars. Like, Kareem, I don't know. I don't really want the show to be longer, but I don't think it's fair for people not to get their Oscar during the actual telecast. If you get a little gold man, it should be during the frickin' telecast. I feel very strongly about it. All right. So now some of you have asked me, it's like being at the kitty table daft pool. I'll tell you a story about the kiddie table, okay? So when growing up, I never had to eat at a kiddie table, okay? Like my parents always had me eat with them. They always engaged with me. And I'm really grateful for that because I think it gave me good, communication skills. Talking to adults so much when I was growing up. So anyway, one time I was visiting family and I was seeing, for those of you who don't know what a kiddie table is, usually they have all the adults sit at one table and then they put all the kids at a side table because I guess nobody wants to talk to the kids, right? All right. So anyway, I went to when I was like a tween, maybe, I went to a family gathering at a distant great aunt. Okay. And it was just me and one other kid at this family gathering. And my stupid aunt set up a kiddie table for just the two of us. And let me tell you, we were both highly insulted. We were like, do you want me to go to sit at that table over there while everybody else sits at the big table? I was pretty upset about it, okay? But then the dinner she served was so awful that the other kid and I were so grateful that we could sneak into the kitchen and throw the food away and layer paper towels over it without anybody knowing. I still remember her in the kitchen going, al dente is just Italian for not cooked. And being like, oh, she just made a giant mush ball of spaghetti that congealed into a giant ball. And then she made peach cake that we thought peach cake might be pretty good. But then it was also disgusting. And we were like, oh, well, at least nobody was paying attention to us to keep getting up all the time. And so that's my kiddie table story. And I always think about that when I think of the kiddie table. All right, don't stick kids at the kiddie table. It's not good for them. All right. All right. So anyway, some of you said, well, will this drive people to do more dangerous stunts in the hope of getting an Oscar? But I don't think that's what the Oscar for stunts would be about. I don't think it would be about the more dangerous stunts. I think it would be about the artistry of the stunt sequences. So I think it would be more like, that's funny, Tamed the Three Bears. That's right. Don't put Grace in the corner. Don't put anybody in the corner. Nobody likes being in the corner. All right. That's why that Dirty Dancing resonated so much. All right. So anyway, I think it would be the artistry of the scene that would win out. So I think the creativity and doing something really interesting with it is what people would pay attention to. At least I would hope they would. The other thing that I think will be great about an Oscar for stunts is that I think it would give some job security to the community. Because as they start doing more artificial intelligence and digital doubles, that's not going to win an Oscar for stunts. So I hope that would be good. Also, people are risking their freaking life for these stunts. They should get some kind of recognition. And I still feel it's horrific that anybody would risk their life to make a movie. If I were a producer or a studio head, I would say, no one should risk their life for any of our productions. That's just insane. AG says, I saw The Fall Guy yesterday and you were right with the Hollywood aspect. Very uninteresting until the actual mystery came along, but still very fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it, AG. I'm glad you enjoyed parts of it. I was surprised that someone who was actually in Hollywood would have such a distorted view of the business. Danny says creativity means more danger, to be honest. I don't think necessarily. I don't think so. I don't think the stunt, like for instance, I don't think the stunts in John Wick 4 were more dangerous than regular stunts. Man, I didn't love that movie story-wise, but stunt-wise, it was pretty special. Does anybody have any questions or comments about this story before I move on to the third? Kareem, I'm glad you liked Fall Guy. Some people really liked it. Jason Acker says, Mickey Rourke losing to Sean Penn was the biggest FU in Oscar history. I don't know if it was the biggest, but it was definitely one of the biggest, for sure. It destroyed Mickey Rourke's career. Also, in Kate Hudson, I think, didn't she lose too? I think that hurt her career as well. That's right, Aubrey Smalls. Everything Everywhere All at Once is a great example of something that I think would win that stunt category as well. I'm glad a lot of people are defending The Fall Guy. I'm glad that some of you liked it, although Lisa agrees with me. That's right, Nacho Flores. I think we all still feel really bad for Angela Bassett. I mean, I don't want to be mean to Jamie Lee Curtis because she's a great actress, although I saw those recent Halloween movies and those were embarrassing. But that's okay. Angela Bassett, we talked about her producing, like what does she produce, 911? She makes a lot of money. She makes bank. I love Angela Bassett. Good for her. A lot of you are saying Sharon Stone. I saw, Casino. I think Sharon Stone just didn't have the reputation of someone who wins an Oscar, unfortunately. But I got to tell you, I've seen Casino a couple of times at this point. I think twice. It's actually a pretty good Scorsese movie if you're looking to scratch that Scorsese itch. All right, Mika wants to fast forward to the next story. Oh, that's very interesting. All right, let's go to the next story, and then we'll do the Ask Me Anything portion of the show. All right, you ready? Boom, baby. All right, so A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place. Now, first off, it's coming onto the tracking. Here we go. Where'd it go? There we go. All right, so right now it looks like A Quiet Place is going to open at around $40 million, which is not great when you look at the box office for the franchise. Man, I hope it opens bigger than this. So that would be the lowest opening to date, actually. The first one opened at 50. The second one opened at 47.5, which was the first Memorial Day weekend where people felt maybe they could go to the movies after the pandemic. And now here's this one. I don't think it's a bad release date, Marco. I mean, there's nothing that comes out really the weekend before, except for that Yorgo, the guy who did Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos. I'm not even going to review that movie because I hate Yorgos Lanthimos, and we're just not a match. So, I mean, I just don't even want to sit through it. All right, so anyway, that's the only thing that comes out the weekend before. So you would think that A Quiet Place could do pretty well that weekend, right? Right before, and also it's going to hopefully play through the 4th of July. I mean, this looks so good to me, this movie. I'm going to be very sad if it opens so low. Very sad. I'm going to be sad. I hope it opens, like, if it could even open like 42 or 43, it'll be close enough that we'll be like, it's the same. But right now, it makes me very sad. It's making me sad. All right. Well, so we'll see. You think it's going to be at 30, Leon? But anyway, Paramount still has a lot of faith in the brand because what's happening? Well, it was announced today. This was the very first house that was revealed for the upcoming 2024 Halloween Horror Nights season at Universal Studios Hollywood in Orlando. And I think this is a great idea for a house at those theme parks. I love these theme parks. They're so great. You want a poll if you're going to be seeing this movie? Okay, I love that you guys like the polls so much. Okay, hold on. Are you seeing A Quiet Place day 1? Yes, in theaters. Yes, on digital. Yes. On streaming. This is a problem right here. You got way too many damn options to watch this movie. It used to be yes or no. All right, and then no, no thank you. Okay, and again, anyone who's watching can vote in a poll. All right, so vote amongst yourselves, and while you vote, let's talk about Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. I love these. I think they're fantastic. I've been to them a couple of times in Los Angeles. And I like Universals in particular because they're genuinely scary and they have like an adult feeling to them. You know, Disney's are fun, they're adorable, and they give you candy. But I really think Universals are a great experience. I loved them. The few times I've been to them, they've been really, really good. And they're legitimately scary. All right, so I think that it also speaks to how popular theme parks have become with adults. It used to be that theme parks were for families and teenagers, right? But now adults love theme parks any way they can get them all year round. For instance, Halloween is a big thing at the parks because, Halloween's a tough holiday to celebrate, so the theme parks help you come up with a way to do it. They have the upcoming permanent place in Vegas that Universal's doing. And then John Wick is also doing a Vegas experience, which is very theme parky. You're seeing that theme parks overall are overcrowded. They're having a real problem with front of the line passes at Disney. That's one of the reasons they have to repurpose the DAS system, the disability system, which is really becoming a problem for them. WeSee says it's $40 million, the new minimum blockbuster gross. Well, it's been around 30 this year, but I think 50 is where I would say a good blockbuster opens. It should be close to 50 or above, in my opinion. And then also, I think the theme parks are overcrowded, which is why there was discussion today about Disney potentially building a 5th theme park in Orlando. I think that's too many, but also it's too damn crowded in the theme park, so maybe they should build it. But how long is that going to frickin' take? And I was going to have more than 2 rides? I mean, a lot of these theme parks don't have enough attractions in them, which is part of the reasons there's too many lines. Hey, welcome back, Lone Wolf Media. All right, so now the reason I like A Quiet Place as a horror house is for a couple of reasons. First off, I'm very happy for the franchise. I think it's very exciting for the franchise to get this kind of recognition. It makes me very happy. And especially when Lupita Nyong'o is joining it. Lupita Nyong'o has really struggled in Hollywood, and I think, she herself has talked about it being partially because of colorism. And so I really would like to see things work out for her. So, and I think it'll be a nice opportunity for some actors or stunt people to play her character actually, the haunted house is going to be based on the earlier films. So maybe the next round. But I just want the movie to do well. All right, so the cool thing is not only is it great for the brand, hey Hector, but the other thing is that what a challenge to see if you can stay quiet in the horror house, right? Like if you talk one of the great things about watching this movie is can you stay quiet? I still remember seeing both of these films and being like, you can't talk during the movie. And because the movie's so quiet, when you would eat your food, you'd be like, I think like nachos, you're like, oh, don't let the alien hear me, but yet so hungry and want to enjoy my nachos with the movie. But it was hilarious. Even popcorn, Like the problem with popcorn is like when you're going around in the bag, it makes noise. Usually nobody would hear that during a regular movie. But during A Quiet Place, it was like so loud. It was like you dropped like a bunch of metal pans. But it really is one of the great things about this franchise. So it would be hilarious if they do that for the house. It's going to be really quiet. And in fact, one of the great things, thanks, Andrew. That's such a nice thing to say. And one of the great things about this attraction is that they're going to feature American Sign Language as a way to communicate and everything. And I think that's really nice. I think that's going to give it a nice, isn't that great element to it as well. So I think that's fun. But then also, I think there's the suspense of a noise being made. Like the new trailer for A Quiet Place Day 1, they're like, the briefcase is going to make a noise. Oh, no. And so I think you can, everybody's really quiet, okay? Everybody's very quiet in the attraction, but yet the actors are like, we're going to drop something or something's going to fall. And you're going to be like, no, don't fall. You're going to call the aliens. And so I think this is like a really creative house. And so I haven't been to a Halloween, haunted Halloween horror nights in a while. But I would if I was going this year, this would be one of my first houses that I would want to go to. I just think it's so fun. I think it's a great idea. All right, let's see here. Why are you guys talking about Joshua Jackson being married? He's divorced and married twice, I think. Okay. I saw him the other, 2 months ago at a restaurant I was walking by. He was eating outside. We locked eyes. And I was like, should I tell him I like him in Fatal Attraction and stuff and Dr. Death? And I was like, no, he was talking to somebody else. I'm a Joshua Jackson fan as well. All right. Are you seeing A Quiet Place day one? 44% of you say yes in theaters, but that's less than half. Oh, I'm scared. Maybe that opening weekend projection is correct. 24% of you don't want to see it at all. What? How could you not want to see it? Have you not seen the trailers? 23% of you will see it on streaming, which means no extra cost. Oh, that's bad. That's real bad. It's, it's a Paramount movie, so it'll go to Paramount Plus. Well, it's, you got to wait still 3 or 4 months for it, but I guess there's no spoilers. And then 7% of you will purchase it on digital. Ah, poor movie. Is he dating Lupita Nyong'o? I thought she was with Joseph Quinn. I thought they were flirting it up. Her co-star in this movie. Who is Lupita dating? I must look it up. Good for her. Wasn't she so sad that she broke up? Let me look it up. Oh, they are dating. Why was she flirting with Joseph Quinn? What? Is Joseph Quinn LGBT? Ah, man, I gotta keep up with the gossip. Do you think Dolan says she and Joe are a PR move? You think they're trying to do a Sydney Sweeney, Glenn Powell? You think that's what they're trying to do? That's interesting. But, good, I hope Joshua Jackson doesn't break her heart. All right. Anybody have any questions or comments about this besides Lupita Nyong'o's dating life? But I'm glad she found somebody. I know she had a very bad breakup. Little baby pizza. No, we don't know for sure about any of that stuff. Elise, you don't have to super care who's dating who, but it's kind of fun. All right, I think we're ready for the next story. All right. Oh, well, actually, we're on the Q&A now. All righty, the Q&A. Here we go. Booyah. 5:27. You can ask me anything you'd like until 5:37. Chico says, hey, Grace, is the last Hunger Games with Rachel Zegler her best box office success? Well, that's not saying much because her movies have not done very well. Kaylin, I don't know if I'm waiting for that Beatles casting to be confirmed. Wait till it gets confirmed. Just watch it be confirmed tomorrow when I can't do a live. But I think it's pretty solid. I don't think it's that exciting, although the potential Ringo Starr casting is pretty good. Lone Wolf Media says, thoughts on Alien Romulus' box office prospects. Word is Fetty is taking influence from the popular Alien Isolation game, which is popular with gamers. As I said, the last 2 days, I think, I suspect that it will perform along the lines of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Swamp Things, what would be your ideal jacket potato filling? What's a jacket potato? Are you putting jackets on your potatoes? Hey, Georgie Porgy. That's right, Dory. Barry Keoghan is the one they're thinking of doing for Ringo. That's the rumor. And suddenly Ringo just became interesting. Melissa says, Grace, I know you're not covering Doctor Who, but are you watching it? No, I'm afraid I'm not watching Doctor Who. I'm not a big Doctor Who fan, I'm afraid. Who's calling a baked potato a jacket potato? That's crazy slang. Where's this coming from? Well, a baked potato, I just like butter on a baked potato. Butter and a little black pepper. Although I'm not supposed to eat potatoes because it's not part of my Mediterranean diet. But when I do eat a baked potato, that's how I like it, with delicious butter on it and some black pepper. Let's see here. Anna Kosel says, thoughts on Hunter Schafer being in talks to co-star in Blade Runner 2099. That's great casting. Hunter Schafer would be excellent in that. I really liked her a lot in the Hunger Games movie, actually. That's the Michelle Yeoh one, right? That cast sounds pretty good so far. Also curious as to what the Quiet Place house will mean for deaf stunt performers. Super excited for me as a signer. Oh, that's so cool. If you live near any of the Universal horror houses, you should be like, hey, man, what are the positions for signers? Will says, if Alien does anything close to Apes, that's a mega success. I don't know about a mega success, but I think Disney would be happy. Boo, 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 doo, doo, doo. So the sun is like so hot behind me. I'm sorry. I apologize. Ah! Okay. Oh, jacket potato is a UK term. Although John wrote Janet potato. A Janet potato? What is that, from Rocky Horror Show? All right. Marco says, how hard is it to maintain objectivity if someone you are covered has interacted with you or watches BTT? Oh, that's a great question. Well, I always, of course, love them. Although sometimes, you never know for sure if they're just saying that, but I hope it's always genuine. But it makes me feel really nice. It makes me feel a little nervous because I'm just so blatantly honest all the time in my coverage. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they remembered what I said, Like sometimes, I'll tell you a recent example, kind of. Like sometimes, like I recently said something and I was like, I called out, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to say it. But let's just say sometimes I'm brutally honest and then I'll find out that someone in the industry saw that video and then I get really nervous because I'm like, oh man, I was super honest on that video. Marco, happy early birthday. I hope you have a great day on Sunday. Tony says, thoughts on DeMeo working on MCU X-Men? Well, Tony, I can't have any thoughts on that because, again, we don't know the circumstances under which he left Disney. Dory, I wouldn't put bacon, sour cream, and cheese and jalapenos on my baked potato, but I do like that on baked potato soup. Houlihan's, I haven't eaten there in a long time, but Houlihan's baked potato soup is incredible. Babette. All right, Babette, let's see what your question is today. What do you think Dave Filoni will do to characters like Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, or Ezra, given they don't appear in the sequels? How will their stories end? Well, Babette, I think they just weren't in the sequels. I think that they, that's okay. I think that they were just off doing something else maybe. I think they're probably I think you don't have to worry about that. Babette, I appreciate the middle of the road question. Let's see here. Kaylin says, just wanted to share my free chat and say happy Pride. That's so nice. We'll be going to my first one this month in Nashville. Thanks for being an ally, Grace. My pleasure. I hope you have a great time. Shadowland, I don't watch the DC animated movies anymore. I think they've really gone down in quality. I think very few people are still watching them. Hey, Taylor, I'm sorry you missed most of the stream, but it's very sweet of you to say hi to everybody. Georgie Porgy says, hey, Grace, I just wanted to say thank you for making me love movies. I just graduated high school, and I can surely say you're why I grew up with movies. That makes me so happy, and congrats on graduating. Let's see here. Glubby Snot says, can I get an early birthday shout out? I'm 24 tomorrow and still rocking this amazingly epic username. That's so funny. You even said something about your own username. You're owning it. I love that for you. And happy birthday. I hope you have a great birthday tomorrow. Your birthday's on a Friday. That's pretty nice. Michelle, Hunter Schafer for Mystique. That's good casting as well. I like that casting a lot, actually. That's excellent casting. I mean, it would open up a line of questioning I don't know if Hunter Schafer would want to go through, but if she's interested in having that discussion, I think that's really strong casting. She also has very strong features, which I think are crucial for Mystique. I love that casting. Samuel Delgadillo says, just finished Gen V. So good. What direction do you think they'll go in with Chance Perdomo's character? Think he's making a cameo in The Boys Season 5. Well, no, because they're not going to recast the character. So the character is gone, unfortunately, because that actor died. Hey, Kareem. That's very generous of you. Thank you. Alex says, did your Will Smith poll finally squash the beef on who cares and who doesn't? It was overwhelmingly doesn't. Yes, I thought that's true, Alex. I think the real thing that'll squash it is what the box office is. If the box office is even close to okay, then it's done. The box office is what's going to be the big decider there. And I will account for the depressed box office for 2024. But the way things are going, it might be a huge box office opening weekend for Bad Boys for Life, and that would mean he is totally clear of the slap. And so we'll discuss all that on Sunday for Movie Math. Thanks, Leon. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. Stevie says, will streaming services make more money off of ad tier subscriptions than ad-free subscriptions due to the ad revenue from commercials? I don't think they care so much where the money comes from, but I do think that being able to run ads on streaming services is going to tremendously benefit them. Although they're still raising prices, which maybe means more people are just willing to pay for ad-free. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. All these questions. Hold on. Alberto says, what's going on with moviegoers? Because both A Quiet Place and Hunger Games got high percentage for not seeing it. I think it's a lot of sequels, Alberto. I think it's we've been talking about this. The quality of the experience. I think there's a lot of elements. People being frustrated with Hollywood. I think there's a lot of hate in the entertainment space, which is also affecting it. Hollywood has got to get rid of this hate. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but they have to start thinking about how to get it out of the space. I think the best way to call it out is that it's just a grift, and it's just, it's not healthy for anyone to hate anything that much. Like, what happened to if you hate something, you just went on with your life and didn't pay any attention to it? Let's see here. Joe E. says, thanks for sticking up for The Acolyte. As an OG fan, I love how Star Wars has progressed and expanded. It's sad that toxic fans ruin it for all. Well, I hope people don't let them ruin it for them. A lot of people were saying positive stuff about The Acolyte on Tuesday when it aired. And so I really am hoping that the viewership is strong. If the viewership isn't strong, then it's going to be hard to defend the show. Jason says, so I've kept my thoughts about The Acolyte to myself, as I'm sure it would upset you. Jason, I know where you lean. But is it any wonder that people are upset when you retcon the Force and its origins? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I think, a lot of stuff gets retconned. I think there's only a very small, but obviously loud group of people who, remember this stuff, who are like, oh, that's not what happened in that book, that one book that came out in the 80s or 90s. Or I guess, I just think, are you watching a good story or not? And I think, and then honestly, Jason, you could not like it, and Lucasfilm could lose your viewership, but that's really, I think, enough. I think going on this crazy hate campaign is not good. I mean, do you know that stress causes health issues? Stress causes cancer. Stress causes inflammation, which causes cancer. It leads to Alzheimer's. I mean, you're really hurting yourself with all that anger. Let's see here. Ben Green says, would you greenlight Speed 3 with Keanu and Sandra? No, not after The Matrix, the last Matrix. It was so awful. Lord Baratheon says, if Deadpool makes over $1 billion and is well received, do you think it will revitalize the MCU? I don't think it'll be totally out of the woods, but I think it'll be very promising for any potential X-Men movies and stuff like that. Xander says, second time I've been gifted a membership and subbed to BTT for 5 years. That's great, Xander. That means you interact with the channel a lot. And hello to you in Cape Town. Matt says, how do you feel about Beck Bennett joining Superman as Steve Lombard? I feel it really brings down the movie, to be honest with you. Sorry, Beck Bennett. I mean, we're getting a lot of TV actors in here, man. I think it just doesn't seem like a prestige film. I would rather have a complete unknown than Beck Bennett. Sorry. Let's see here. Dolan says, did you hear about Timothy Olyphant voicing a Terminator in the new animated series? That's crazy, Dolan. Is he going to be like a Southern Terminator? I'm very excited for the Terminator anime series. I'm glad everybody also likes the Hunter Schafer casting for Mystique. It's really brilliant. WM says, Grace, though the character is German, my fan cast for MCU Nightcrawler is Jonathan Bailey. Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, you guys are on fire with this casting today. He would be a wonderful Nightcrawler. I just read the last X-Men book before it relaunches, which wasn't that great. The artwork was nice. And Nightcrawler had a full beard, which I gotta say looked pretty good on him. Fritz, my allergies are okay right now, but it's been brutal, like last week. Wandering Seth says, I'm watching on my phone by a waterfall in the Korean National Park called Soroksan. Phone reception is great here. Wandering Seth, you're truly wandering in a wonderful way. I wish that I was sitting there next to you. I really want to go to Japan. I don't know if I'll ever get to Korea, the city of the future, but I'd really like to go to Japan. I want to go to Tokyo Disneyland largely. Oh, let's see here. Jonathan Groff is in the next Doctor Who episode. Talk about ways to getting me to tune in. I love me some Jonathan Groff. Wherever he is, I try to be. Hold on, I missed some questions. Look up, lore matters. Does it though? I mean, again, as a Batman fan or an X-Men fan, I'd be like, how dare you? But I'm always also open for playing with stuff. You know? Who's this Lewis Hoffman you guys keep talking about? I don't know who Lewis Hoffman is. Let me Google him. Everybody's like, what about Lewis Hoffman? And I'm like, who? Lewis Hoffman. Oh, he's a German actor. Who is this guy? What's he even been in? Why are you guys all into Lewis Hoffman all of a sudden? Okay, hold on. Boo, 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 boo. Jack says, hey, great content as of late. Thank you. Also have to say it was great for you to shout out One Life in Movie Math, one of the best films I've watched this year. My pleasure. Fritz wants a baked potato. The infamous Kiki says it's getting to a point that everybody hates everything, so nothing gets made. Or, you know what, Kiki? It just gets really bland because people are afraid to offend people, and that's bad too. Sneaky says, personally, I think Romulus looks exceptional. However, I'm nervous for its performance. I think it's too teeny boppery, but let's see. Haunted Autumn says, thoughts on Netflix is Eric. I thought it was excellent. Sadly, I haven't seen anyone talking about it. As I said, Haunted Autumn, I thought the beginning was good and the end was good. I thought it was like a 3-hour story that was told over 5-6 hours. And I accidentally skipped episode 4, and I found out that really didn't make a huge difference. But I liked the first episode and the last episode. Who was cast in Jurassic World? Everybody's talking about it. Hold on. I'm going. I don't see it. I saw someone earlier today. Yes, I'm not familiar with this actor. Oh, from Dead Boy Detectives. Well, that's awesome. But yes. I'm over my time. Hold on, let me try and get to these last couple questions. Okay. Barbara Seville says, Grace, you owe me $7. Bad Boys was awful. What? I feel like I once saw Bill Murray, and somebody said the same thing to him, and he actually gave them their money back. It was hilarious. It was great. It's like gambling. You take the risk, Barbara. Okay, let's see here. Future movie actor says, fearful that Scream 7 will be successful and Spyglass will have gotten away with what they did. Well, I gotta tell you, Abigail not doing well was a real problem for that situation. Let's see here. Liam Rizzi says, would you ever read the Dune comic versions? I don't know about that, but I am excited for the Dune show on Max. I will cover that show, I think. Morph says, do you think Will Smith should make a comeback or accept the Oscar and go into business? What do you mean? Let's see. I mean, I thought Bad Boys was a very good movie, even though Barbara did not care for it. Let's see here. Jack says, Grace, do you know that that's very sweet, Jack. I would be honored if I'm honored if I am. WM says, Grace, do you think Wicked could dominate at the box office? I don't know. I don't think Wicked's really connected yet. And Man on the Moon says, the first Hunger Games movie jump-started some careers. Lawrence, Quaid, Jack Quaid, Stenberg. I think it was the first movie for some people, but it really only helped, I think, Jennifer Lawrence's career. All right, everybody. I got to get going. Let me do some quick shout outs. Okay. Because I got to go. Where are you? What are you doing so I can say hi? Jax is just chilling in Liverpool after a long day at work. Recently got my first architecture position since last being a member. Oh, that's great, Jack. Congratulations. You take care too, Haunted Autumn. Marco DeVecchi finally finished Succession. Oh, it was a great ending, Marco. I loved it, but I can see. It's like the Sopranos ending, which I also loved. Andrew is cuddling with his cat and sending emails for work. I love it. Well, Jikos is just laying on my couch after finishing a long, early shift at work, while Atmosphere is playing Star Wars Hunters and listening to the stream. Well, Joe E says it's in a rainy Sydney suburb having a break. A breakie? I've never heard of it and call it a breakie before. I like that. DK says, doing home improvements, preparing for the summer heat. Oh, that's great. And Leo says, in LA, just got home. Thankful Grace gave us her best self, even though toxic Twitter. I try. You can't let it get to you, man. You just can't do it. I don't want all those problems from stress. Thanks, Oralysis. I'm glad you liked the stream. Sally Webster just put a pecan pie in the oven. Oh, I love pecan pie. Tillman says, gonna go see Bad Boys tonight with my guys. Fan of the franchise, hyped for this next installment. Tillman, I think you and the guys are gonna have a great evening. Although, again, Barbara would disagree. We'll see who you agree with, but I loved it. I thought it was great. I think it was a really fun movie. Let's see here. Hey, Matt, always in Michigan. Always so nice to hear from you. iHeart Movie says, sitting on my couch in Ohio, I also have a minor update on my family friend. She had her baby boy yesterday. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Dakota Swallow says, have to return all these phone calls I've been getting during the live stream. Oh, they have to wait, Dakota. We're busy. But, I love that. Thank you. Thanks for putting this stream first. Oh, Ben 10, bonne nuit in France as always. And Film Fanatic says, missed the stream playing tennis. Oh, that's cool. Can't wait to watch now. Oh, that's great. I'm glad. You're having a full day, Film Fanatic. I'm glad to be a part of it. And then Sean McGuire says, missed the stream because I watched The Boys in the Boat on Amazon Prime because you said it was good. Oh, I hope you liked it too. It's a great movie. Let's see here. And Future Movie Actor says, debating whether or not to make nachos at home or order McDonald's or Burger King right now. Well, I think they're all about the same. My vote would be for McDonald's. So delicious. I haven't had McDonald's in such a long time. I might get some soon. Let's see here. Mish says, decided to do some work while watching the stream. Tomorrow is my last day at my new job and 1 week holiday before the new job. How many new jobs you got, Mish? But I'm glad you got a vacation in there. Oh, look, Future Movie Actor also has a new member of the family. Ah, how nice. All these new birthdays. And then Aided Buffalo says, eating Maltesers after I passed my 6-month sobriety. Well, I don't know what a Malteser is, Aided Buffalo, but congratulations on your sobriety. That's wonderful. Lisa had McDonald's for breakfast. Well, Generic Man says, I'm debating pizza or tacos for episode 2 of The Acolyte tonight. Oh, you're going to have a good time. That's a good episode. I would go with pizza. Those are both good options, though. And then Kyle Selby says, in Los Angeles, making art for a comic book prop for my short film that's shooting next weekend. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Kyle. And then Rogue Froggers is baking a 2-layer carrot cake with my bestie. Ah, that's so nice. I've never made carrot cake. How do you make cream cheese frosting? I'm intrigued. Mish says, I've only been at my new job for 1 month, then got another one. What, Mish? I mean, more power to you. And then Cream says, getting Healthy Panda Express and going to watch Interview with a Vampire. Oh, look at all those vampire emojis. I love it. Oh, James Griffin says, Maltesers are like Whoppers but tastier. Who makes this Malteser? What company is it from? You have a great weekend too, Ricardo. I must find out where the Maltesers come from, and then I shall go. Hey, Ilya. Future Movie Actor says, I'm also at my 10-year college reunion this weekend. Oh, that's crazy. Nestle makes burgers? Oh, Mish, I'm glad you're coming out of a rough time and it ended happily. Oh, Australia. Are they a candy? Oh, Whoppers. I thought you meant a Burger King Whopper, not the malted milk ball Whopper. Ah, why can they both be called Whoppers? Isn't that brand confusion? Ah, that's interesting. It was a Malteser's Mystery Mystic, and the mystery has been solved. All right, thank you, everybody. I love hearing about stuff in other countries. It's so fun. Okay, everybody, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on Sunday for Movie Math. We'll see how Bad Boys 4 does. All right, bye. Bye-bye.